Guys, welcome back to my channel. Colin Martin is my name, and we're gonna have a story time. Okay, it's been a crazy, I want to say a week, but it's actually been like 2 weeks. I've actually not been having a video, so it's because I've been trying to record a vlog of me, like getting to work the whole day, and I'm failing terribly. I'm failing terribly because it's always busy and stuff like that. Thanksgiving, and I'm busy with work. But let me give you guys a story time because when I'm speaking about work, I'm speaking about a 9 to 5 job, 8 shift job, consistent pay, and this is something new to me and in a new country as well. So let me give you guys a story time of how it all came to be, how I got my job, where I work, and all the details because it's fun, it's interesting. So let's see. Let's start from the point where I start applying for jobs. When you're new to a country, there are many things that are different. Like um, policies and stuff like that. And when it comes to jobs, it's no different how to apply for jobs and stuff like that. But I think applying online is something that is done globally. Having a resume, having recommenders and stuff like that. So I knew about that, and the moment I got uh, an email. It was not actually an email, a notification that my employment authorization and social security were done, and I'm gonna receive them within a week or two. I started rebuilding my email, my resume, was what some people call a resume. I started editing it, making it better because I realized one thing. I actually made a full article on applying for jobs, and I'm gonna make a video explaining everything. Every single job you apply for requires a different resume. Yes, it's gonna be the same information, but you're gonna put it differently. For this job may not require this set of skills that you have, so you don't have to include them. This other job is gonna require that set of skills, so you include them. Like everything is gonna require a little editing. So I made my resume edited differently depending on the kind of jobs I wanted to work. Now I had specific jobs in mind because I know there's a lot of discouragement. People you're new to the country, no one's gonna give you a job, no one knows you, you don't have your degree yet, you're still studying. There's gonna be a first work experience, no one's gonna pay you, la la la. You should work here, you should work there. So I did have in my mind where I wanted to. Okay, I didn't have a specific company, but what I wanted to do, because I was like, if I'm gonna wake up every day and go work somewhere, I wanna love it, or else we're gonna do it. Because I wanna put my heart into it. I'm gonna be stressed, so liking it is gonna help. Deal with everything. So I got my notebook. It's actually far right in my backpack. I got my notebook and I wrote down different industries I could work in and what specific jobs. Like when it came to hotels, I was like, if I were to work in a hotel, I would work at customer service, I would work at the reception. So I would write hotels, reception, customer service. I was like, okay, cool. If I were to work in retail, I'll work at customer service. I would work, this. If I were to work in an office, I'll be assistant. I would be an assistant and stuff like that. So I went and wrote down all these things, and then I formulated, what is it called, online profiles on Indeed, and I've forgotten the other website. And then I already had my LinkedIn, so I just updated my LinkedIn, changed a few things, changed location in case it was still stuck to Uganda and Entebbe, shifted it to where I am right now, and then began hunting for jobs. But then the problem I had with LinkedIn is that LinkedIn is kind of discouraging. You're just gonna go to LinkedIn and this job has 10,000 applications, and I'm like, okay, there's 10,000 applications on this already. Why am I even bothering? So I honestly didn't use it that much. I just made it just in case if the person that is going to hire me is looking for me, they can find me, because they usually do background checks and stuff like that. So when they are looking for me, they can find me and they can find all this information. That's why I made it. I didn't make it really for applying for jobs, because people there have 10,000 degrees and they speak 3,000 languages, and it's a whole lot of things going on there. So I just made it, updated it, and it's active just in case someone is looking for me and they can see it. So I began applying for jobs. I mostly used Indeed. And I started applying for jobs. Now, to be careful with Indeed, I actually made another video where I spoke about being scammed online for jobs. There are very many scammers from Indeed that actually use Indeed to scam online. Be very, very careful. I've seen it on Twitter. I experienced it myself. Be very careful. But I used it anyway because it makes it easy to apply for jobs. It's just like click, 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 click. So you can actually apply to like 100 jobs in a day without even you noticing, right? So I started applying to jobs depending on what my list that I had written. Hotels, accommodation. I'm gonna do customer service. I'm gonna do reception. I can do all those things. I begin applying to jobs, and then of course there's clothing lines. I was like, you know what? I'm interested in fashion. I'm interested in clothing lines. So I was like, Gucci, Louis Vuitton. Imagine Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Versace. I've not seen a Versace store right here, but I've seen Chanel. I've seen Ralph. I've seen Cartier. I've seen Pandora. What else have I seen? I think those are the ones I've seen yet. So, and Zara and H&M and what is that store? Forever 21. So I saw all of them and I was like, cool, I'm gonna apply to all these stores because I like fashion, I know how to make clothes. This is something I'm doing. I create content online, something you can do. So I applied to all of them as well. And I wait. Now while I'm waiting, I start getting emails back. I get a few calling me for an interview, and then because it was easy to apply, I would just apply thinking it's in Chicago, and then by the time I look up the location, it's like 2 hours away, and I'm like, okay, that's a bit too far for me, I'm sorry, and then I decline. Or when we're having the conversation and somebody notices, people want to take advantage of others, so when they notice that it's going to be your first job, they want to underpay you. Whole time I have made my research because I sat down and I was like, okay, cool, what is the minimum wage in Chicago? And like, the minimum wage in Chicago is $15, right? So I'm like, nobody is going to give me anything below $15 an hour, period. But then again, I cannot earn $15 an hour. Why? Because I already have experience in a lot of these things that I'm applying for. That's why I'm applying for them. I have experience in them. I have passion for them. I am a quick learner, social media and all these things. So I was like, if somebody's gonna hire me in the fields I'm applying for specifically, they're gonna have to do more than $15. So even when I would do an interview and somebody would try to scam me and they're like $15, I'll be like, no, thank you. Or maybe they want to give me more than $15, but then there are no other benefits like health insurance or something like that. I'll be like, no, thank you. So I would decline. And then I think I was after like a week, I was like, oh my goodness, I was like, getting discouraged and stuff like that. And then I get an email from Mariano's. Mariano's is a grocery store here in the Chicagoland area. I think I don't know if it goes further than that, but it has like 144, 114, one of those two stores all around Illinois. So I get an email and they're like, well, you applied, come do the interview. So I go there, look for the hiring manager, and I do an interview. And this lady is like, cool, I'm gonna hire you, but I'm gonna give you $15.85. And I'm like, okay, $15.85. And at that time, I'm like, you know what, $15.85. What are the benefits? She's like, well, there is health insurance, la la la. She gives me all this, and I'm like, okay, I can deal with that. As I scale up, and she's like, well, you can scale up, you can be promoted with time. You work if you work well, and I'm like, well, I know I work well, so and all this. And then she tells me I'm gonna hire you. Now the only problem comes when she tells me, since you're new to the job, I'm gonna give you part-time. And part-time, she was giving me like very limited hours, and she was setting the hours out of my schedule. And then she was like, well, until I see that you are reliable, then I will give you full-time and you choose your hours. So she tells me that, I'm like, I leave the store and I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna take it. Like, I've taken it, like, I sit with her and she thinks I'm gonna come back. But when I leave this store, I'm like still confused. I'm like, should I do this? Should I not do this? But by the time I move out, I've made up my mind. I'm like, I'm not gonna do it. Now, mind you, Zara as well sends me an email the day before I come to the store. Zara sends me an email. I'd almost missed out that part. Zara sends me an email. They're like, we want to interview you. It's gonna be an online interview at this time. Now, the time they set is right in line with the time I'm at Mariano's. So the moment I rush out of the Mariano's interview, I go sit down in their cafeteria on their Wi-Fi, and then I go for the Zara interview online on my phone. I didn't even carry my like laptop or something. It was on my phone. So I set up my phone, go in, and I'm like 30 minutes late for the interview. So I log in and I'm praying. I'm like, God, So I log in. I log in. I didn't even have the app because they were using Microsoft Teams, and I have what is that app? What is that app? I have this common app that we all have. I've forgotten the name of the app. So I had to download the app. I'm already late. I get it. I put in my login credentials. I log in. And the good thing is it was a group interview, so everybody was still speaking. So they're like, okay, somebody came in late. Who is that? Introduce yourself. And my camera is off. So I put on my camera and I am like, hey, I'm Colin Babazi. I'm in Chicago. And they're like, cool, what did you apply for? And I'm like, well, um, sales associate at Zara Michigan Avenue, la la la. And they're like, oh, that's cool. So Collins, since you're late, we're gonna give you like a test, kind of something like that. So they give me a couple of accessories, and then I design them, I style them in different ways. So I think I asked it. It was really good. Everybody was impressed, and then the meeting ends. So when the meeting ends, I move out of the Mariano store. I told you I'm still in the Mariano store, and now I've done 2 interviews in Mariano's, but one is for Zara and one is for Mariano's. So I move out of the store and I've made up my mind. I'm like, I'm not gonna do Mariano's, but then I'm not sure about the Zara interview as well because I came in late. I don't know if I asked, what I spoke and all that stuff. So I just moved back home, and in my mind, I'm like, well, I don't know. Now, as I move back home, I'm like, hold on, there is a Mariano's right next to our apartment block. It's like 2 blocks away, right? I'm like, hold on, why did I get this that is 20 minutes away when there is one that is 2 blocks away? Let me check that out. So I ran back home, dropped my bag, dropped everything, and then rushed to that Mariana's. I literally just walked there. So when I walked there, I go there and I'm like, I want to find out if you guys are hiring. And the guy I asked sent me to his manager, and the manager, George, is such a nice man. He tells me, look for Hawa. Hawa always knows if we need anybody and she will recruit you. So I look for Hawa and I don't know how Hawa is. So I go to the customer service. I'm like, hello. I find this lady. I tell her, hello. I'm requesting for Hawa's contact. And she's like, why you need Hawa's contact? I tell her, well, I need a job. I applied to another Mariano's and they offered me the job, but it's a bit too far. And this is very close to home and I want to apply for a job here. She's like, okay, cool. I'll be with you in a minute. So I sit down. She's like, sit by the cafeteria. I sit in the cafeteria. These are different Mariano's, right? I sit at the cafeteria and I'm on my phone, still on their Wi-Fi. And she comes with papers and she's like, okay, tell me your name one more time. I'm like, Babazi Colin Martin. She's like, okay, cool. Can you spell Babazi? And then I spell, and American says Z and I say Z. So she's like, Z? I hadn't had that in a long while. And I'm like, well, I'm not American. And she's like, where are you from? And I'm like, I'm from Ugandan. And she is Kenyan. So we're neighbors. She's like, wow, that is the reason. I know you're saying Z. So she tells me what job you're applying for, and I'm like, well, I don't want to do a cashier job because I didn't give her a reason. I was just like, don't do this to me. I don't want to do a cashier job. I'm not cleaning. I'm not doing what. So she's like, customer service. I'm like, that's perfect. I want to get customer service. So she's like, cool. Have you worked with customer service before? And I give her my experience. And she's like, okay, cool. It's a bit different here when you're working in a retail grocery store, and what you've been doing with customer service. It's a bit different, but since you know the way you speak and the way you carry yourself, you can handle it. So she's like, come back tomorrow. You're gonna speak to my customer service manager, and we're gonna see if we can give you a deal. So I come back the next day, and I speak to the customer service manager, and I strike myself a deal, better pay than the previous Mariano's, better benefits, better everything, right? I sign my papers and I'm ready. Now that's Friday, so Saturday, Sunday, no, that's Thursday. So I come back the next day to do my training and start. And then I get off Saturday, Sunday. So Monday I come back, I'm working, I have my apron on, I'm working, I'm doing my duties, I'm doing good, I'm going strong. On Tuesday, I get a call. Now, when I get a call on Tuesday, I'm like, okay, who is calling? It's from New York City. I'm like, it's an unsaved number from New York City. Maybe someone's trying to scam me. I call back anyway, and the person is like, hey, am I speaking to Mbabazi Colin Martin? I'm like, yeah, you're speaking to Colin. Who am I speaking to? And I've forgotten her name, but she was calling from Zara. And she's like, well, I'm calling from Zara. We had an interview last week, and we loved your attitude. We loved you. We loved the way you speak, the way you conduct yourself. We would like to conduct one more final interview with you. And I'm like, I'm down. I'm game. And imagine the next day I was free. They're like, are you free tomorrow? And I'm like, girl, I'm down. They're like, cool, what Zara store you want to work at? And I'm like, Michigan Avenue. And they're like, cool, will you be there at 10:30 tomorrow? I'm like, yeah, I'll be there at 10:30. So the next day, so I'm like, okay, I'm working at Mariano's. I've already made friends. I love it here. But like Zara is also something I loved, and it's something that I really like, so I'm gonna check it out anyway. The next day I'm free, I'm off, so I leave at around 9, get on the bus. The bus breaks down. The bus breaks down in the middle of the road, and I am late by 30 minutes. And my appointment is supposed to be at 10:30. I reach Zara at 11. I get there, I greet the security officer, like, because I don't know where I'm heading. I've only been in the store, I've not seen the managers, I've not seen nothing. So I asked the lady at the entrance, the security personnel at the entrance, I asked her, hi, I'm Colin, I'm here for an interview. She's like, oh, wow, I like the way you're dressed. She's really, really sweet. And she's like, you're gonna love it here. And the way she speaks to me, she's speaking to me as if I've already gotten the job. So I'm like, cool. And she's like, go to level number 3, speak to someone, they'll get you there. So level number 3 is the men's department. So I go up the escalators, I'm on level number 3. I'm like, I have an interview. They're like, what's your name? I'm like, Colin. She's like, you're late. Someone else is being interviewed, but you'll be interviewed right after. And I'm like, oh, sure. And I'm like, cool. I sit, and they're like, take a seat. So I sit. There is a seat right next to the elevator. So I sit. As I'm seated, an elderly couple comes right by the one who uses the elevator. They're like, hello. And I'm like, hi. And the lady is like, we have to go check out the women's department. Oh, and the lady's like, we wanted to go check out the women's department, but we're in a rush. You guys have nice stuff. And I'm like, really? Is it good? Did you like it? And the guy goes, yes, I liked it. And he has like a bag of things he bought. And I'm like, I'm glad you enjoyed it. And then she's like, you work here? And I'm like, no, because I'm not dressed like in uniform. They wear blazers. And I'm like, no, I don't work here. She's like, oh, you're so sweet. And I like the way you dress. I'm like, well, I'm here for an interview. And she goes, well, I would hire you. You look amazing. You sound nice. I like your smile. I'm like, thank you. And while they just get into the interview, into the elevator, I'm called for the interview. I head into the interview. The HR person asks me, hello, how are you? And they're like, why did you apply to Zara? Easiest questions. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? I have none of those. Like easiest questions. And just like I'm telling you, they had already given me the role depending on the first interview, but now they wanted to see me in person and see how I look like and see how I interact with people. So they give me papers. They give me a book for the employees. They give me everything. They're like, welcome to Zara. When I tell you that my jaw dropped, when I tell you that my heart was exploding, because in just a 1 week span, I had gotten the jobs of my dreams. Like, these are my first, literally my first jobs. Pay me more, great benefits. I'm doing what I love. I'm not stressed, and I love it. So I signed the documents, and while I'm signing the documents, my brother calls me. I've not spoken to my brother in a while. He's been at school finishing papers, so he calls me and he's like, Colin, and I'm like, you won't believe where I am right now. And he's like, where are you? And I'm like, I'm at Zara. He's like, what, you shopping? You doing something? I'm like, girl, I work here. Like, I work here. And he's like, you're kidding. And I snap for him my papers and I'm like, well, I work at Zara. And it's it's not technically my first job because I also work at Mariano's right now. I had worked there for like 3 days. But like, I love Mariano's as well. I'm like, I also told him about the Mariano's job. I'm like, I work at Mariano's. I'm also the customer, service representative there. He's like, you're joking. And you're making some good money. I'm like, I'm making some good money. I love it. And I live Zara. And my friends were so happy for me. I'm so happy for myself. And I think it's been so fulfilling, so rewarding. And I just want to tell everybody that if you really want to do something, do exactly what you love. If you feel like you're better, you deserve better, and you can get better, go for better. It's always there because I negotiated better pay, and I have never worked in the US. I made sure I was standing on business looking and working only where I wanted to work. So that in case, those days, there are always going to be times where you're tired. But then if you love where you work, then you're going to go to work anyway because it's a fun thing, you love it. So it's been amazing. It's been amazing. That's why I've actually not made any videos for the past couple of weeks, 2 weeks. I've been busy, I'm trying to make my schedule right, trying to see which hours I'm gonna put where. And I think by the end of this week, today is Wednesday, today is Tuesday. By the end of this week, I'm gonna have a fixed schedule. When I make my content, when I go where, when I work where, and it's amazing. I'm honestly really thankful. I'm proud of myself, and everybody else that wrote for me. And that's it. That's how I got my first job, and it's been amazing. Subscribe to my YouTube channel for more content. I'm gonna make more story times. Hopefully this was not so long and boring. I love you.